Todo campeón.
And what this will also show you is not only what the champion's going to look like, but the experience that we created surrounding the champion creation. Because we really wanted to make something that felt magical to the player. We felt that the notion of scanning someone in was quite a cool feature, and we wanted the experience surrounding that to be as cool as possible as well. Now, the story we're telling the player here is that these cubes, as you see on the screen, are pieces of digital DNA that are going to be used to construct them as a champion in the world of Kinect Sports Rivals. So the initial thing that I'm given is a basic outline of a character, so you can see that's a head, arms and legs. And what's already happened at this point is Kinect has scanned me from head to toe and decided how tall I am, how wide I am, and it's picked a body that it thinks is appropriate for me. At this point I can choose if I want to be an adult or a junior, because we wanted to give the players the option here. So I'm going to choose adult, so you see the DNA from the adult stream has been infused into my body. Equally, I'm going to select male for now. But again, players you can actually scan as a different gender. One thing that I found quite creepy is I scanned myself as a woman and ended up looking like my mum when she was 30. Which was kind of cool, kind of terrifying, but yeah. So this is the first time the player really gets to have a tier, and so they've got this basic character made out of DNA, and it's quite good fun to just jump around, and it's quite responsive, and we see the kids just stand here for a good half an hour just playing around, doing this sort of thing. But when the player's ready to move on, they step forwards towards the sensor, and this is where we scan their face. And this is where the magical happens. So what's going to happen now is it's going to look at my face and it's going to identify what it thinks my skin colour is, what it thinks my hair colour is, what it thinks my hairstyle is, if I'm wearing glasses or not, if I've got a beard or not, and then finally it's going to look at my completely unique face shape and use that to create a stylised version of me. And that's the one thing that Kinect Sports Rivals does that no other game, no other experience has ever done before, scanning my face in 3D and using that to create a character. So let's show you how simple that is. And that's it. Simply by looking up, down, left and right, Kinect Sensor has scanned my face and looked at all of those things that I just listed out. Now what you're going to see now, this face is going to change shape, or it should do. So this is now my unique face shape. You can see the sort of fat little nose and the chubby cheeks and that kind of thing. And I can actually control this as well. Move the eyebrows. And it's quite fun again to just play around with this face, break it up, and cover it up and break it up. And there's a few other little Easter eggs in there as well. And when I want to see my champion now, I simply step backwards. And the digital DNA is going to fly off screen, and when it comes back, it's going to fuse together and create my completely unique champion. So, fingers crossed, let's see how it's done. So the first step is to give me legs, which is excellent. I appreciate that. And then hands. So this is the first glimpse of the skin colour there. So what's the head going to look like? It's going to look like you do.
Wow.
Okay, not too bad. And that's how we create a character in the world of Kinect Sports Rivals.
What do you think about using the face recognition software? Like if we could get the game controlled only with your face.
So we were having a bit of a brainstorm. So we went further than that. We're like, okay, what would it mean? Because there's some other things I didn't show you for expressions that the system tracks, such as whether I'm looking at the screen or not, how engaged with the system I am. And that's based on some very simplistic eye tracking, so am I gazing at the screen, am I gazing away from it? And we get, if you look at the depth map on the face, we get things like if I do that, that shows up like a bump in my cheek from a tongue. Could we do a game that was controlled only with eye movements, or only with your tongue? Would we want to? And the answer is probably no. Probably not.
I think that the important thing to think about is what's going to make a really great experience.
Exactly.
And I'm not convinced we do a game controlled with your face, but I can imagine all sorts of experiences that utilise your face in unique and cool ways. One of the things we were chatting about back at the office is, wouldn't it be cool if you were playing a game like, I don't know, Resident Evil, and all of the zombies were based on your friends? Because it's actually a lot more emotive. You know, like in TV shows like The Walking Dead, when one of the members of the cast has been turned into a zombie, like, oh no, they're a zombie. And it's like that heart-wrenching moment. I think seeing one of your friends as a zombie would be really cool, because shooting one of your friends in the face is a bit, I don't know, that's harder to do.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome as well. Yeah. I don't like you anyway, zombie. Die.
Come on, Harry. I'm Rare of old, so I was there when we did Perfect Dark, and all of the rare stuff for the people in Perfect Dark.
But
So
it's
we're going
more-
to shooting Pete Cox in the
But
face.
it's more meaningful though, it's kind of cool. I mean, that's one of the things I love about our game. It's not just your champion that you get to see, but when your friends start playing it and all their champions are in the cloud and they start to come down on your box and you compete against them, you don't only get that cool moment when you've made yours and you're like, yeah, he looks pretty cool, but you get to see all of your friends looking pretty cool as well. And so I think there's tons of ways we can use this tech. Like, we were talking the other day about how, what if you merged a human with a pig, and I have little pigs running around looking like Nick in a world, and you know, just all sorts of things. And you could imagine you're going through this game world and there's this Mount Rushmore statue in the distance, but actually your face is on the Mount Rushmore. You know, there's so many cool things. Even like, you know, you're playing a flying game and the clouds at people's faces. There's so many whimsical, cool things you
I
can
want
do.
to play a racing game on the inside of your head.
Yeah, there's loads of.
But Harry's right, ultimately. It's about the experience. There's a load of really amazing things we could do with technology. And it might not even go into games. I mean, if you think about the thing like we said about eye movements, what does that mean for, you know, controlling, say, you know, devices where your hands aren't free, or, you know, somebody that's disabled? There's a lot of interesting things in natural user interface that are going to develop over the next few years. What we have to do as game makers is figure out the ones that players want and you get delightful experiences from.
Yeah, I definitely want to see you as a pig.
You should.
That would delight me a lot.
You want to see me as a pig? What do I want to see you as? Some sort of cat, because of all of those stupid pictures.
Yeah, see, everyone loves cats on the internet, so...
Yeah, there could be an entire YouTube channel about that. Kinect cats, there you go.
But yeah, so basically it boils down to we'll pick the experiences that we think really utilise the tech in a fun and cool way.
What about the motion control fever that maybe is
Okay,
passed
sorry.
now?
So, one thing is certain. If you look at where lots of technology companies are going, not just us, we're at the vanguard of natural user interface, but there are lots of other people getting interested in it. It's not going away. There was a, wow, motion gaming's amazing, big push. But if you look back to when we went from joysticks to joypads in the 80s, that kind of happened. The NES came out and everybody went, amazing, and then everybody else did it. And that's got continually refined. And that's what's going to happen with NUI. It's going to become more relevant to people than they can ever imagine without them ever realising. But it's partly going to happen because they're not stood up doing what we did on Kinect version 1 and running on the spot until they drip with sweat, because you don't need to do that. You know, you want to make the interface that works for the person in the experience they've got. It'll just get better and it'll get more seamless, and people will just forget about it being motion gaming or controller, or just use what's most appropriate for the experience. There's some really cool things you can do by combining those together.
That's it. I think that's one of the things. It's like, yes, motion gaming is a very specific type of game, and like Kinect Sports is very physical, but like all of these better with Kinect things, I think there's a lot of room to grow there. And the more that developers get access to these tools and able to do these things, like I was saying, a Resident Evil or Daisy or whatever kind of game that your friends are all the zombies in, that's something that it doesn't use Kinect directly, but it uses the information that we have from Kinect. And like the example you always use with Dead Rising, you know, shaking the control pad to get zombies off you, that uses Kinect as well. So I think that that's one area that I think we're going to see more use of Kinect across the board. That's where I would like to see it.
Yeah. The Dead Rising is a great example. I had an argument with somebody a few weeks ago that told me those joypads had accelerometers in them, so they could read that. And it's like, no, dude, that's Kinect skeletal tracking. No, it isn't. Yeah, it is. I know the team who worked on it. It doesn't matter. It's just cool to do it, and that's just the first one of this massive wave of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and we're gonna. I reckon in like 5 years' time, we'll have forgotten. We won't even be talking about motion games.
No,
they'll just be.
integrated across the board.
And there'll be a high energy game and there'll be a low energy game, and it will depend on what the experience is. Yeah.
What's the top new features for you that the player will going to find in the game?
Well,
we know what that is.
as we both worked most extensively on the champion feature, I think we're both going to say that.
Yes.
But truly, that is one of the major breakthroughs of this game. I mean, this is something that other games have done to one degree or another, but I don't think there's any game out there that does everything that we do. I mean, the most unique thing that we do is scan your face, get that 3D mesh of your face, and apply it to this stylized character to get a very unique and much more personal version of you. And even if it's really strange, when you scan people, some people it's uncanny. You can look at that character and like it really looks like them. Like ours are pretty good. And the others that's not uncanny, it's not, you can see what it's doing, but it's not uncanny. But the good thing is that everyone is unique, everyone is different. You never get someone who looks a certain way that looks completely nothing like themselves. And so
I was just going to say, I find it really funny that sometimes when people will scan themselves in and they'll go, that doesn't look like me. And all of their friends are stood behind them going, it looks just like me. It's got you now. Like, no, it hasn't. And then we're stood there going, yes, it has.
Yeah, but I think for me that's one of the most awesome things that we do. I mean, even when we don't nail it 100%, it's still good enough approximation. And when we nail it, it's actually magical and it like blows people away. I mean, obviously,
well, I was going to say, I want to say the same thing because it's close to my heart as well. But I think there is something else. We've been able to, with the new level of fidelity we get from Kinect, we've been able to bring a depth and mastery to motion gaming that there hasn't been before.
Definitely.
If we can run a sweepstake in the office for who can do the fastest lap on one of the weight racer levels and still watch the time getting nipped away, like if we were playing a normal racing game like Forza Motorsport, but with motion gaming, that's there's that new level that you've not seen before. I mean, you look at rock climbing, right? When you start off playing rock climbing and you're like scrambling up the rock face, figuring out the motion controls, and it feels like quite an energetic game, and you realise you can be a bit less energetic with it. Then you transition into this new way of playing, going, okay, well, what's the best route? Like a best racing line. So yeah, okay, that's the best route. Is that the best route strategically or just speed? Because if I'm next to somebody else, maybe I want to cut them off or just be at the right point to grab them and pull them off the rock face so they take a time penalty. So it transitions from being a motion game to being something more strategic like chess or something like that, which is obviously what happens in real sport, right? It's all about the line it takes. So when you can do something like that with motion gaming, I don't think we've seen that before.
No, we haven't. And that's a really good point, actually, because there's one thing that we do at Rare, which is a sort of monthly game tournament where we pick a game and everyone at Rare gets to try and set the best score. So one of them was Pac-Man CEDX.
Yes, it was
that I won, because I'm good at that. But other one we did with weight racing, and everyone in the studio got to play as many times as they want, got to play weight racing. It was to try and get the fastest lap. And the spread in times was quite phenomenal, from people who maybe hadn't played it so much because they weren't that close to the development, like the people in HR or even the canteen staff, down to the guys who wrote jet ski, wrote Wake Race, and they really know how to play. And you can keep seeing that people were really, really getting fiercely competitive, and the times were going down and down and down and down. Even when you thought, oh, no one's going to beat that time, someone did.
So Dave, the head chef, was on about 4.5 minutes, right? It was his first go. Bless him, he didn't play it again. Rich Watson, one of the main devs, 47 seconds. And I just say that because, for a lap.
Yeah.
Because I can only do it in 49.
But, I mean, even if you look at the pre-season leaderboards, they range from, like, a normal 3-lap race on pre-season weight racing is about, 3 minutes 50 seconds for someone who's not really played that much, and the world record is 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And, I mean, I challenge anyone to play and get anywhere near 2 minutes and 20 seconds. The good people get about 2 minutes 50. So you're completely right in that mastery is something that I don't think we've seen to this level in a Kinect-based game before.
No, definitely not.
This team is everything to me.
We got rivals spreading the word that Eagle Legion can't attract the talent anymore.
So initially the teams are kind of fun characters that introduce you to the world of Kinect Sports Rivals. So Eagle Legion, Viper Network and Wolf Clan. And they're part of what we call the onboarding process. So the first few hours of the game, you get very slowly introduced to the sports and the mechanics, and the teams are part of teaching you how to play each game. Then eventually they pit you against some of the harder events where the team members are going to be within the events racing against you, just to get you from someone who's never played and doesn't necessarily understand the mechanics to someone who's competent. Then at the end of that onboarding process, you pick a team to join. And at that point in the game, they're not used for anything else further to that. You get a nice team kit, but that's about it. So moving forwards, the teams are going to be used to drive competitions that we're going to have. So there's going to be all sorts of additions to Kinect Sports Rivals over this next year that we're not announced yet, but one thing I can say about them is that teams are going to form the foundations of that. So it's going to be about joining a team and competing with other people online and taking part in these bigger competitions, these global competitions. And I think if any one of you has followed the pre-season campaign that we've been running with Kinect Sports Rivals, we've done all sorts of competitions with that. And it's that sort of thing, but on a much bigger scale. So when you turn the game on, it'll be, this tournament is available perhaps, or something like that. Again, I don't want to get into the details of what it could or couldn't be, but I know that the teams are going to be a kind of major part of that.
Yeah, what about the currency? You mentioned there's no premium currency plan for this, but I guess there's some sort of paid DLC for the future, or
there's very likely to be DLC in the future, but the currency I was speaking of in the presentation is just coins. So as you compete in events, you earn coins that allow you to buy things from the in-game store. The better you are and the more difficult opponents you play against, the more coins you're going to win. So it basically means that the more skillful you are, the more quickly you can unlock everything in the store. Whereas if you're not that skillful, you can continue to play, you get fewer coins, and eventually you'll be able to get all the stuff in the store. So it's just basically soft currency. It's like I said, there's no premium currency, there's nothing like that.
So what kind of DLC can we expect? Even completely new sports?
It could be. We've not announced what it's going to be yet, so but it could be something along those lines. It could be something else. We'll have to see.
Yeah, there's lots of things that we're thinking about, but be unfair to say, right?
No, well, like I said, one of the things that we want to do with this version of the game, we've got all these telemetry hooks in the game that allow us to see what players are doing. So if everyone's playing wake racing, or you know, people like this specific mode over this specific mode, we'll try and understand why that is and work out, okay, well, there's a pattern here. Players seem to keep playing this and not playing this so much, so maybe we'll make more of this, or maybe we'll make more things that feel like that, or maybe we'll make something different over here that perhaps encourages people to play these game modes more. So a lot of what we're going to do in the future is going to be based on what we see players doing in our game. And again, we did a lot of that with pre-season, so we've really got to see what people play in pre-season and how often they play and when they come back and play, and we're going to be using a lot of that data to drive our decisions, because really we want to make the game that the people who play our game want to play. So if we see they're doing this, then let's just give them more of this, let's give them more reasons to enjoy it, rather than just, you know, we've got a good sense of what we think people will like, but we definitely want to be informed by what people do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, isn't it, that once you start to be able to understand en masse what is delighting people, or what they're not finding that you think should delight them. Maybe you can light that up a bit more by putting it more front and centre for them and saying, maybe you want to try this because you haven't yet. Yeah, okay, you didn't want to try that, maybe you don't like it. Okay, and then we'll go this. Now, so to enable us to react is a pretty important thing just across the board in gaming now.
It's something that websites have done for like
years,
forever. You know, Amazon do that all the time. They'll put two different adverts up and see which one's the most successful. You know, we've got the capability to do things like that now, so it's and that's going to be prevalent in, I think, all of our games going forward.
Yeah,
as well.
without that.
How are you getting the feedback from the community? I think there's a really positive trend towards this game, and forums and social network. I think people are really looking forward to it more than the first one and more than the first announcement of this one.
I think what we've done is, because we've properly been able to this time engineer not just the experience that in Kinect Sports Rivals, but Kinect itself being an integral part of Xbox One. And I think gamers are realising it's more relevant for them because of this depth and mastery that's there now. And like, oh, actually, this looks really quite good. Like something, you know, a bit more for me that I want to play, rather than I didn't want to, you know, run on the spot and do the kind of things that we did before, which were more kind of group, you know, bigger group. Or
I quite like running on the spot.
Well, yeah, hurdles against you was fun. Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right. There's a sort of a change in, okay, actually this is pretty cool, and there's a lot of cool stuff that we can do with Kinect. It's not just what we thought it was 2-3 years ago. Which
Yeah,
I think
but
a lot of game players I think thought it was a one-trick pony, and now they realise it isn't.
But one of the ways that we get feedback to answer that part of your question is that we have community managers at Rare who deal with our Facebook page and Twitter and the Rare website, and they get a lot of emails and we get a lot of information and feedback from them. And anything that they put on Facebook, obviously, we get responses from. And one of the things, again, that it'd be very interesting, and this isn't confirmed to be going in this game, but I certainly think would be great, is that putting more stuff in the game that enables us to get a sense of what players want, so even asking questions. One thing I'd love to do with the champion, in fact, is at the end of the scan, just ask people, do you have 5 minutes for a quick questionnaire? Did you like it? What didn't you like? Because that sort of stuff is invaluable. It's really, really useful. We did a lot of that actually going around the world. So we took the champion scanning around all over the world. We took it to Tokyo, Madrid, all sorts of places, and scanned Turkey. Scanned a bunch of people and got them to fill in this questionnaire. And what parts of the champion did they like? What parts of the champion didn't they like? That helped us inform how we were going to change it. And I'd absolutely love to do that on a bigger scale. With everyone who's bought this game. Do you like your champion? Why do you like it? Why don't you like it? What bits did you like? Did you think it looked like you? All that sort of stuff. If we could get that, that'd be great. And it'd be great to start building that into the games. Assassin's Creed do it in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. At the end of every mission, there's the option to rate it, and I think that stuff's great because you've got a good idea as a developer of what you think is fun and isn't fun. You've got a good idea of what you think people are and aren't going to like, but there's nothing beats actually being told, look, this mission sucked, or this mission was brilliant. Because it really helps you going forward.
I mean, it's one of the things that you always need to put at the centre of game development anyway. We do it literally on a one-to-one level with people where we'll sit there and watch them interact with the game, see what they do, and then question them quite deeply. That's how we got to the champion scanning experience that we did. I mean, we did so much of that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We put people in front of it and just, can you get through this experience?
And things that we thought, they're bound to get this, and then people would have no idea. It's how you make the experience better. I mean, it always has been. But now, like Harry said, with the ability to do that for certain things in the right way en masse for your entire user base, that just means you can make it much more relevant for those people. Because they'll probably come back with things you've never thought of sometimes as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, now that you mention it, Kinect is obviously included on Xbox One box. What do you think of people that is asking for a cheaper bundle without the Kinect? That it's so important to you.
I think those people are going to be surprised, as we said earlier, with what you can do with Kinect. To take it out and not have it available for everybody then limits what you can do. And so, on a personal level, I think it will be a shame and a little short-sighted
I agree.
to do that. I understand why. But then I look back recently at the prices of consoles throughout the ages and looked how much the first consoles were if you adjusted them to today's prices when I was a child. And I'm like, my word. You get a lot of value for money with all modern consoles compared to what you did 20 years ago.
But I agree with Nick. I think it'd be a shame because I think if it's there and you've got a guarantee that every user is going to have it, then as a developer you feel far more inclined to use it and to think, okay, well, what can I do in this game that is better with Kinect? What ways can I bring this technology in to make my game better and more unique? And I personally think it'd be a great shame to take it out. I understand why people want it cheaper. I totally understand that. Everyone likes to have more money, but I personally think it'd be a shame.
And the other thing is, of course, over the lifetime of any piece of technology, it reduces in price. That's not me saying there's going to be a price reduction. There's a matter of all technology, right? It's Moore's law. Technology gets cheaper to produce over time, and so that gets passed on to consumers. I'm going to geek out now and say this, but when I was in Seattle a couple of weeks ago, I went to the Living Computer Museum, which has all really old computers back from when I was a kid and before. And the guy I was with, Andy Bastable, tech lead on the Champion, who was with me, took this great photo. There were these 4 wardrobe-sized disk drives. Each one was 100 megabytes, and I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars each one of them cost. We put my phone on top of one of them, and then went 100 meg, 32 gigabytes, and for the price, I mean, running that thing for a week with the amount of power it'll cost more than this phone did. It's, you know, so yeah, it's. We shouldn't take it.
I don't think we should either.